rather than just faff around with half a dozen little chickens once, why not go for one big egg? Much easier, surely. Martin Tomlinson is in Cheshire, and he's got emus and can tell us a thing or two about the eggs and who buys them. Very good morning to you, Martin.
Good morning.
How many emus have you got?
We currently have 4. We're expecting a few more to hatch in the next couple of weeks, but yeah, we've got 4 at the moment, and that's really all I really want as adults.
Why?
Well, they take up quite a bit of space, which my plan sort of is, as long as I've got 4 and they're all unrelated, so it means that I'll be able to sell chicks in future years that are unrelated and go into breeding and such like that.
For those of us for whom emu is a blue thing on the end of Rod Hull's arm, tell us a bit about them. How big are they and where are they from?
They evolve basically in in Australia. They get mixed up quite a lot with ostriches, which are also the biggest bird, emus being the second biggest. Ostriches are African and emus are Australian. Basically, as adults, they weigh about 120 pounds, so about 60 kilos ish. They stand with their heads are a good 6 foot tall, and they're just dinosaurs with feathers. To be honest, that's.
Are they scary then, or are they friendly?
They're to the untrained eye, they do appear scary. They are obviously quite tall. They're young at the moment, or 2 of them are quite young, so they're quite giddy. And they run around quite a lot. It does look like a scene out of Jurassic Park sometimes in the paddock. And they've got quite big claws on the end of their feet. However, all ours we've hand reared them. So once they hatch, they spend the first couple of weeks running around our lounge, which is interesting. So they're completely tame to people. So the 2 youngest I've got, they'll quite happily run over to you and stand and have a hug and a scratch and all that lot. So they are very friendly, but they have to be respected because they can be dangerous or accidents can happen because they've got such powerful feet.
See, we've got chickens and a peck from them at Smart to Bitch. What's a peck from an emu like?
Best thing I've ever compared it to is like if someone has a glasses case and try to nip you with a glasses case. That's it. It's not sharp. They just got quite a hard, almost plasticky like beak. And it's sort of like a pinch more than anything. But like all birds, they love something shiny. So if you've got any buttons or a watch or earrings and you don't pay attention, they'll go, ooh, shiny, and try and go for it, which is where you've got to be careful.
Yeah. And where do they sleep?
Outside, believe it or not. This is one of the things that before I got them, obviously you have to do a lot of research, especially something like this. And one thing that sort of enamored me to them was the fact of they're very, very hardy. So in winter they'll make a little nest, and if it snows they sit out in the snow. They have got an enclosure or like a shed basically, which they choose not to use at all. They just sleep outside and they'll huddle into a hedge if it's windy and snuggle together, and that's about it. They're very hardy animals.
You've got Cheshire's biggest bird box.
Yeah, well, as I say, they tend not to use it unless they decide to lay an egg in there and try and hide it, which seems to be the game at the moment.
Yeah, well, we find that with the chickens. They hide them anywhere rather than where you want them to lay.
Yeah.
So, an emu egg, how big is it?
Really, they kind of look like your typical, you would buy a Cadbury's egg from the supermarket or wherever for Easter and get it open, and that's what appears. So yeah, they're about 6 inches long. They weigh, or the contents is about between 12 and 15 chicken eggs worth in one emu egg.
And do they taste like chicken, the eggs?
Disappointingly, yes. We've got various, we're a bit random. We've got, at one point we had eggs from 4 different species of bird on our draining board. And my wife does a lot of baking, and she says that the duck eggs are much richer and such like that. But unfortunately, I just think an egg's an egg. So they're basically a big egg, and it depends on how you cook them. But yeah, they're pretty much, to me at least, not much different to a chicken egg.
I've just got this vision of one massive egg in a frying pan if you wanted a fried egg.
Yeah, that's my vision as well. Yeah, you need a big frying pan because, as I say, it's like there could be 14 chicken eggs worth in one go. So some people say, oh, well, make an omelette, and to me it's like, well, you could just do that with 14 chicken eggs. Where's the drama? But yeah, one frying pan, you could do it. The problem is it's getting the depth of it to cook. So the alternative is 45 minutes for a dippy egg. That works in a soft boil.
Hey, Toffee, how are you doing?
But
wow.
How you doing?
It's like a whole, what do you put it in? A bowl? Breakfast bowl? Instead of an egg cup?
That'd work. Stand it up in it, yeah. And I mean, what you do for the soldiers, that's the next guess.
Elfie.
Well, you just put a slice of bread.
Yeah, or a French stick.
And you're away.
Hello.
Who buys them then? Because these are sort of eggs on industrial scale, aren't they? I know your birds sound like they're free range and pretty much do what they like because they're terrifying. These are industrial scale eggs, if not industrial scale birds.
Yeah. Really, well, unfortunately, the egg production isn't industrial scale. They will lay between 30 and 50 eggs a season, and the season runs pretty much from November until March. They lay over winter. So yeah, it's not a case of you'll never make a living out of it, and they don't really cover their costs as yet. People who buy them are people who like the novelty value of this is strange. No one's heard of having an emu egg to eat. I'm finding at the moment that there are a few people who are looking for an alternative Easter present because some people don't like chocolate. So I'm looking at ways to present them in a nice sort of gift manner, if you see what I mean. But yeah, and otherwise people are buying them to try and incubate and hatch their own chicks and have them as pets.
How much space do you need for an emu? And do you need more than one? Do they get lonely?
You do need more than one. It's definitely they struggle on their own. For two, really, I don't know what the legal requirements and all that is, but I would say at least a decent acre of land for two. Grassland's okay, but it can be woodland. Just space because they can run very, very fast.
And you need a licence to keep them? No,
there used to be years ago you had to have a dangerous wild animals licence. That still applies for ostriches, which it does cause confusion with some local councils and such. But emus were declassified from that because as not being a dangerous wild animal. So no, you don't need a licence. You just need a big fence.
They ever escaped?
We tried to move paddocks with them once last year when we had two younger ones, and one jumped the fence. My naivety of not making it high enough, and we spent a good half an hour running around a 6-acre field after an emu that does 35 miles an hour. Does make it tricky.
It does, but you can have it as part of your new exercise regime. People won't be allowed out by the look of it, Yeah,
definitely an exercise regime. Try and corral an emu, and then of course when you get it, you've got to get behind it, because if you get anywhere near the front of it and they jump and kick forward like a velociraptor basically. That's when they'll cause you trouble. I've had slits cut into jeans and watches ripped off my hand because I didn't get behind her when I needed to catch her. So that was a lesson learned, and a lucky one, really.
Martin, lovely to talk to you.
And you?
Fascinating story. Thanks very much for your time.
No problem.
Martin lives in Winsford and sells emu eggs.